This is the EVP Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the EVP Podcast. I'm Beaker.
I'm Ghosty.
And I'm DVO.
And yes, this is us.
We're the EVP Podcast.
Apparently he's the E, I'm the V, and that guy puts the P in the V.
Every time.
Oh,
Every
man.
week.
Twice sometimes.
Twice sometimes.
We've never done it twice.
But it's Easter weekend, so maybe.
Do you know, if you watch the YouTube, I'm the cream in the middle of the Oreo sandwich here.
You know it.
Yeah, you're the meat in the sandwich here.
All right, so that's a great start. So last week we talked about the Men in Black. They're not real, or are they?
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to hear it.
So.
Let us know what you think. If you've had a story of the Men in Black, let us know.
Yes.
We'd also like to know if you had a story relating to our next topic that we're about to talk about. This is also someone that wears black. This guy doesn't have a face.
What?
He's very slender. He's the Slender Man, actually. Slender Man. Yeah. For those of you who have never heard of Slender Man, it's a fictional character that was created on June 10th of 2009 by a guy named Eric Knudsen. At the time, he was using like an online alias. He was going by Victor Surge. He actually entered a Photoshop contest that was on a website called Something Awful. And what they had asked for was they wanted people to create paranormal images, something scary that like they basically just wanted their submitters to submit scary images that they can use and create stories from. So most people were just sending in pictures and stuff that they had created. This guy actually put captions on his two photos. He actually sent in two really creepy looking black and white photos. Both the photos had children in them. And then he photoshopped in this tall, like creepy looking thing. Just tall, skinny, no face, like white head, wearing a black suit. I don't know if I think it was just coming after him.
Or wasn't it like walking away with him?
No, it was just the one picture. It looked like, and I'll post these on the social media, but the one picture looked like the people are like running, and then I think the other people they were just like playing on a playground or something, and he just put them in the background like he was watching them.
Yes, I remember those.
So he's the only one that actually submitted kind of like some story that went along with these photos. Everyone else just kind of put in the photos. On one of the photos, he said, it says, we didn't want to go. We didn't want to kill them, but its persistent silence and outstretching arms horrified and comfort us at the same time. And it said 1983 photographer unknown, presumed dead. The other photo, it says, one of two recovered photographs from Sterling City Library blaze, notable for being taken the day which 14 children vanished and for what is referred to as the Slender Man. Deformities cited as film defects by officials. Fire at library occurred 1 week later. Actual photograph confiscated as evidence. And then it says 1986 photographer Mary Thomas missing since June 13th, 1986.
And you think people got that and just like ran with it like, this is true?
They did. I mean, at first, like, when it kind of caught on, like everybody kind of knew that it was fake and he just made this up. But as the years went on, like people started talking about all the stuff that they've seen, all the Slenderman sightings. Videos started coming out of people showing Slenderman. I actually saw one recently where apparently Slenderman like walked around someone and they got it on security camera, and you could see like the tentacles coming out of its back. So originally, like Slenderman was like had arms that could like stretch out long that kind of looked like tentacles, and then it came to these like tentacles that came out of his back.
Yeah.
But this Eric guy actually said like there's a couple rumors of where Slenderman actually came from. One of them
Transylvania.
actually Germany. So there was another user. There's this website called Creepypasta, which is basically like fictional stories made up by like horror stories made up by the people that use the website. And one guy actually went on and created another fictional character, basically, and was saying that like Slender Man was like a relative or ancestor of this guy, and his name was Der Grossman, or translated, it's the tall man or the great man, and he's supposed to be a mythological creature associated with woodcuts carved by an unknown artist in 16th century Germany. The said woodcuts portrayed it as a tall, disfigured man with white spheres where its eyes should be, similar in appearance to Slender Man. The Der Grossman was commonly described as a fairy of the Black Forest who abducted bad children that entered the forest at night and would stalk them until they confessed their wrongdoings to a parent. So, I mean, this is how popular it got. Like, people started making up like backstories of where Slender Man came from. Now, the actual creator of Slender Man, Eric Knudsen, said he got his inspiration for Slender Man from a lot of places. So he got it from Zach Parsons' The Insidious Beast, Stephen King's The Mist, all the reports he was reading about or hearing about of shadow people, something called the Mad Gasser of Mattoon. Also he got the inspiration from Mothman. The Tall Man from the 1979 film Phantasm, H.P. Lovecraft, the works of William S. Burroughs, and he also got inspiration for this character from the video games Silent Hill and Resident Evil. He said his intention was to formulate something whose motivations can barely be comprehended and cause unease and terror in general population, which is what it did. People, like I said, they just ran with this. To the point where like it spawned a lot of different fan art, cosplay, and online fiction. They got onto creepypasta. And he's most commonly described as very tall and thin and unnaturally long tentacle-like arms, and sometimes which can extend to imitate or capture prey. Like I said, white face, no features. He's always
Prey
wearing
being children.
Prey being well. That's the funny thing is it started out as like children, yeah, and then as stories grew and as popularity grew, then it was just kind of like it got into like
Squatch babies.
Adults.
Going after Squatch babies.
Squatch babies. No, I'm safe though because I'm not a baby anymore.
I'm a toddler.
I'm a toddler Squatch. And a ginger. And you know they don't have a soul, so he's not going to come after me.
Can't smell you.
No.
Can't smell your soul.
Well, he doesn't have a face. He doesn't have a nose, so he can't smell anything.
You're right.
He is telepathic, though, apparently. So he's often associated with the forest or abandoned locations and is said to have the ability to teleport and telepathy. There's so many things that apparently he can do. Like, it just grew.
Dress well is one of them.
Well, yes.
Quite dapper.
Yeah, I know. He's a very handsome Slender Man. But it's said when Slender Man is around, it will trigger a slender sickness or a rapid onset of paranoia. Also,
or hunger pains.
Yeah. You'll also have nightmares and delusions accompanied by nosebleeds. So, yeah. That's kind of the origin of Slender Man. Just a thing that someone created for a Photoshop contest. And
did he win?
I don't remember. I don't think so. I would hope so.
I would say so. I don't think he won the contest, but I'd say he won.
Won in life?
Yeah. I think he won in life. Because here it is, 13 years later, and we're still talking about it.
Well, because people do some dumb shit over it.
People did do some dumb shit. There's been a lot of reported sightings of Slender Man. There's a lot of videos you can find on YouTube of Slenderman sightings. I was watching a couple this morning as like the top 5 scariest Slender Man sightings. I think the 2 dumbest ones of those top 5 was the family. I can't remember what country they're in, but they're like coming home from a play or something, or from ice skating. And it's not even a dash cam. It's the daughter, for some reason, is on her cell phone filming them driving home.
Fake.
And then the dad gets like a phone call from the video store saying they can't like transfer his videos over onto a tape or something because it was causing distress among all the employees. And then, so they get back in the car, and as they're driving, Slender Man appears. Which, it's just weird that as you're driving home, you're just filming on your phone for some reason.
You don't do that?
No.
Just
Drive around with your camera on.
That's not
whenever you're a
what we do.
passenger in the car, you just start filming.
You just start filming?
Yeah.
Another one was from like 1996, even though Slender Man didn't exist until 2009. But I was just... And then it was like 1996. Was dash cams a thing then? Like, do you remember...
In 96?
Yeah, did you take your big brick camera and set it on your dashboard and just start recording?
No, they were not a thing in 96. I want to say early 2000s is when they started becoming like...
Yeah, I got my license around 96. And so
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, there were still
being,
horses on the road back then.
I don't
Horse
remember
and
being a
carriage.
thing. People like recording. Of course, the internet was still kind of new, but I don't remember it really being a thing. Like, hey, let's put our video camera on our dashboard and drive around filming.
No, it wasn't.
It just seems weird and out of place. But it did inspire a lot of crime. Weirdly enough. The first one actually happened in Washaka, Wisconsin?
Waukesha.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, this one, this was on May 31st, 2014.
Don't you know?
So this was 5 years after Slender Man was born.
From Mr. Knudsen.
Yeah, so now, was he a butt baby then? So Slender Man was a butt baby. He was 5 years old by this time.
Someone's been watching Tenacious D.
So so this one, there was these three girls that had a sleepover. It was Peyton, Morgan, and Anissa. Is it Anissa or Anissa?
It's Anissa.
Anissa.
Aw, how cute.
So it was a birthday sleepover.
Oh.
And so Morgan and Anissa,
But they had a good time.
and they ended up like walking out with their friend Peyton and convinced her to like thinking that it's just all fun. I don't know if it was late at night, like middle of the night, like I think it was middle of the night maybe.
You
So
tell
it's still
me.
dark. So they convinced her to go out there with them,
Yeah, I think they went out to play hide and seek.
and they just both pull out knives and start just cutting her up. Got her 19 times.
This birthday party went south
Yeah,
quick.
this birthday party
Whose
is
birthday
not fun.
Whose party was this? Does it say?
It doesn't say.
One of the attempted murderers, though?
It just said it was a birthday sleepover with friends. But, so yeah, the three of them go out there. They stab their friend Peyton 19 times and just leave her and then walk 5 miles. And then
They told her they were going to go get her help.
and just tell her
But
to
we're
stay.
sorry. We'll go get help.
Yeah, well, this is just a game. So these psycho girls, they just walked for 5 miles. And then they found police. Or no, police found them. And they were just nonchalant about it all, just telling them that Slender Man made them kill their friend. But a biker, so after she was stabbed 19 times,
Yeah,
Peyton
actually-
crawled. So she crawled into a clearing, and that was able to get spotted by a bicyclist who found her and was able to get her some help. Which found out she was a millimeter away from dying. Like one of the puncture wounds was like a millimeter away from cutting a major artery, which she would have bled out within a minute.
Yeah.
So she was lucky. She ended up in the hospital, and it says she got out of the hospital, went back to school that September. So, yeah, it was interesting how this all came about because Morgan and Peyton were like best friends growing up, and Anissa had actually, it's like when they were starting like 6th grade, junior high. Anissa actually moved in the same apartment complex as Morgan, and that's how they became friends. Anissa from an early age, not Anissa, Morgan, from an early age said she could see ghosts and spirits and stuff. Once she actually brought it up to her parents, and her parents said, "Just go to sleep, they'll go away." And so she was like afraid to like ever mention it again to her parents because she thought her parents would like make them go away like she wanted. Because she didn't really have a lot of friends. Like Peyton was her only friend. Anissa didn't have any friends at all until she met
Morgan.
Morgan. It was Nisa that actually got into Slender Man, found him on Creepypasta and all that, and it got to the point where she was like, she introduced it to Morgan, and then Morgan started getting like really into Slender Man.
We want to have his baby.
Yep.
I heard he's a butt baby.
They tried to get Peyton into Slender Man, and she thought it was too scary, wanted nothing to do with it. It
We
depends
must
on,
kill her.
Yeah. It depends on like which one you're talking to, because I guess they both gave different stories on who came up with the idea. They both blame the other one for the idea of taking Peyton out and killing her. The reason why they said they did this is because they were trying to become proxies of Slender Man. They were trying to become like his disciples, his followers. And they wanted to live
I call
with
them lackeys.
lackeys. They wanted to be his lackeys. They wanted to live in his
Or
mansion.
groupies.
Yeah.
His groupies. They wanted to live with him in his mansion. They wanted
He
him
has a
to,
mansion?
Yeah, apparently.
Well, if he's going to dress nice, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
He's got a mansion out in the woods in Wisconsin.
It teleports too.
Yep. Well, like Morgan started saying, she spoke to Slender Man telepathically. And Slender Man was basically saying, like, if they didn't do this, if they didn't do this to appease him and all that he was going to hurt their families. And so they didn't want their families to get hurt, so they took their friend out there and stabbed her 19 times.
And I was wrong about it was a millimeter away from her heart. That's a close one.
Yeah, they just barely missed some vital organs.
So get this. Wisconsin law states that an individual over 10 years of age can be tried as an adult in attempted murder cases. Both girls initially pled not guilty due to mental illness, but both took plea deals to avoid prison. Morgan, who stabbed Peyton, was sentenced to 40 years in a mental institution and was diagnosed with schizophrenia and psychotic spectrum disorder, which made her prone to delusions. I've never even heard of that one, but okay. And then Anissa, who planned the attempted murder, was sentenced to 25 years in a mental institution.
The new girl.
Yeah. And, yeah, look, I mean, they got off easy.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, the one got,
you're
like,
saying
40
how she was just millimeters away from dying, but I'm like, 19 shots and you still couldn't kill her? You guys suck.
They're the worst.
You might as well be a stormtrooper.
Failures, yeah, just shoot the sky.
No,
Well, I mean, they
that's
got off
sad.
easy because they're in mental institutions, but the one serving like 25 years and the other one serving like 40 to life.
Yeah. But no prison, though. I mean, they're somewhat free.
Yeah, they're in a mental ward.
They just wander around and take pills all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, they used excuses like, I think it was Morgan that claimed that she also talked to Lord Voldemort and one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh, my God. I'm
that's-
sure the
that's why
lawyer
they-
was just like, hey, you
I
got to
think
be
they had a
crazy,
film.
crazy.
You have to act,
Well-
you have to act psycho here.
Have you seen when people are getting, well, they're accused of a crime that they did do, and then they're faking crazy, and then the camera's rolling on them the whole time, and they don't know it, and then all of a sudden here comes like somebody that, you know, whoever it is, the cop or whatever, they come in and all of a sudden they start acting crazy, but they were fine just a second ago.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing with Morgan. Schizophrenia runs in her family. Her father was schizophrenic. And she had also shown, I mean, she wasn't empathetic at all. When they said that the friend was like dying in the woods, like they didn't seem to give a shit. Especially not Morgan. I don't know if they've officially diagnosed her yet because they say they don't diagnose people with schizophrenia until they're like their mid-20s, which at this point they were born in like 2001, so they're like barely in their 20s.
So it's still imagination.
So schizophrenia does run in her family, and I've actually shown.
Like, what do they wait for to wait for in the 20s?
It's hard to do. I don't know why they wait till their 20s, but as a younger child, I don't know about like being 12 years old, but when she first started seeing ghosts and stuff, like it's hard. Like a lot of kids have imaginary friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to diagnose schizophrenia at an early age. I'm not sure the reason why they wait until their 20s, but that's just what I read.
Just to make sure they're mature.
I guess. But I have actually shown these pictures of the two girls to Brandy. And I mean, this is when I did an episode about this on my previous podcast. Brandy was actually able to confirm from the photos that I believe one of them, if not both of them, did have some sort of mental disorder. So it is entirely possible it's schizophrenic. her having schizophrenia is the reason why she was seeing and talking to Slender Man, and that's why she did this. It was a couple of years later when they actually found them competent enough to stand trial, and that's when they gave
Their sentences.
Their sentences. Mm. I know it was here in 2021, actually, March 10th of 2021. One of them actually, they pled guilty. Both of them ended up pleading guilty, but I'm sorry, actually in 2020, one of them filed an appeal, and the courts refused it. They just threw it out. But yeah, they blamed the whole thing on Slender Man. Saying that
I want to know what the Ninja Turtles told her.
I don't know.
It was wrath. He said, use the size. Or knives if you got them.
Use knives if you got them.
That's how it went down.
But this spawned actually a whole documentary that's on HBO Max. It's called Beware the Slender Man.
And I was just surprised to find out that this poor Peyton little gal, she actually survived this.
Yeah.
I mean, I know she was close to hitting a vital organ, but she still survived 19 stab wounds. That's pretty crazy.
That's a lot.
Good for her, yeah.
And to crawl out of the woods, like from where she was stabbed.
Right.
So that she's a trooper.
Yeah. Interesting.
Probably won't go in the woods and play hide and seek again.
I bet she won't.
But that is, I mean, this is like.
But neither will the other two girls either.
Yeah, no, they're not allowed anywhere near the woods.
This is like the most well-known case
yes.
of someone doing a crime in the name of Slender Man. It was at this point when Slender Man kind of went from being like someone that attacked children to someone that saved children. And he became like an anti-hero, and he even had a daughter named like Skinny Sally.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Is it the same guy who created him that is making these other characters, or just other people
adding on? This is just other people adding on to it.
Okay.
I had a quote from him on June 4th, 2014. Eric Knudsen said, "I am deeply saddened by the tragedy in Wisconsin, and my heart goes out to the families of those affected by the terrible act." He stated he would not be giving interviews on the matter. So, I know in 2018, the movie Slender Man came out, and the father of Peyton's father actually, did bomb. Well, actually, it was said to be like the worst movie of 2018. The sad thing is it actually turned a profit at the box office. I can't remember how much it was made for and how much it made, but it was actually considered a success for financial.
Probably opening night.
Probably.
Opening night is where they made all their money.
Did they release it like in October?
I believe so. I do remember seeing it in the theater, but this is before I got my CPAP. I remember falling asleep in it. I tried to watch it again this morning, and guess what?
Fell asleep.
I fell asleep. So it's a boring ass movie.
So it did well on Rotten
Tomatoes.
But
it's free on Tubi if you want to go watch it.
So there was another it was a movie made. It was a local movie, and they did a premiere trailer at the Salt Lake Comic Con. I think it was probably like the second or third Comic Con here. Anyways, it's
called FanX now.
Yeah, FanX now. But maybe I think it was the second one. So, anyways, they were gonna have this premiere movie release of the Slender Man made by these local people that made this.
Okay.
Oh boy. That was hard to sit through. I ended up walking out. Sorry if any of those guys.
It was a screening, or it was like the whole.
It was like it was like the screening release.
Okay.
Everybody that made the movie was there for that. They even had guys in like stilts dressed up like Slender Man walking around and everything, and it was cool. The atmosphere of it was really cool. And then
Till they played the movie.
And,
you should have walked back. Oh boy, I can't do this.
It was parts where like I know that track station. Like seeing these parts, but yeah, it was harder to sit through. I walked out like probably not even halfway through.
You should have walked up and said something, or walked out saying something like, "All right, I tried, but I gotta go."
Open the door. I tried, everybody. Yellow troopers were sitting through it.
Oh boy.
What other crimes happened? What other crimes did Slender Man commit?
Yeah, I've got some crimes here. Want me to read these off?
Yeah.
So we've got some stories here that were inspired by Slender Man. Poor Slender Man, though. He's like, why am I getting blamed for all this? 'Cause I didn't tell anyone to do
tentacles
this.
are showing.
It's like, yeah, I don't need people's help. I just do this shit on my own.
Yeah, he's like, don't be blaming me. So the first story here is actually both stories were in 2014.
All of these were in 2014.
Yeah, a young 14-year-old Lily set her home in Newport Richey, Florida, on fire while her mom and sister were still inside. So luckily, her mom and sister, who was actually 9 years old, they actually were awoken by the smoke alarm. About 1:45 in the morning, they heard the smoke alarm, woke them up. They got out of the house. Law enforcement said that young Lily was obsessed with the whole Slender Man character, and in her own confession, she stated that she was obsessed with the creepypasta stories, and even kept a journal that mentioned murder and death. And then one entry that she had wrote in there also said, "If this keeps up, there will be no safety in this house." Oh, young teenage angst. She must have had a rough life at 14.
Yeah, it was terrible.
So, I mean, I hear this story and I'm just thinking, all right, she's going through that phase, that teenage phase. She went a little too far. I mean, hopefully nothing was happening to her, but if it was, I mean, she decided, I'm going to light this house on fire. I don't know what her 9-year-old sister would have done to her. But anyway, yeah, so, she's locked up. And then in Ohio, a mother who chose to remain nameless with her daughter was returning back home from work. Her daughter was waiting for her silently in the kitchen, wearing all black clothing and a white mask. Out of nowhere, the daughter began to try and stab her mother repeatedly. The mother escaped with only minor wounds. Again, in this case, the teenage daughter was highly fascinated with Slender Man, keeping drawings and stories about him all over her bedroom. And it said that this was all inspired, this whole attack on her mom was inspired by Slender Man. And the young girl claims that, or I'm sorry, the mother claims that her daughter was someone else, in quotes, at the time of this attack. So I don't know if she...
A sociopath, maybe?
Yeah, it reminds me of Michael Myers, right? Mike Myers, when he puts on the mask, he turns into something else. Turns into someone else. So, yeah, I don't know.
There's another one, too. This one was a week after the one in Waukesha.
Okay.
There was a guy in Las Vegas who was known to dress up like Slender Man often, but he ended up killing 2 cops and a civilian before committing suicide with his wife.
Oh. Was she dressed in all black as well?
I have no idea. But
It doesn't say really what he wore, though, huh?
no,
besides all black?
just saying that he normally dresses up like Slender Man. Like, he's known that he would dress up like him,
black
but he did
suits.
all this crazy shit and just saying, yeah. I don't know why but that's tied up to it just because he's known as dressing up as a Slender Man.
Okay. That's weird.
Yeah.
Or Men
So
in Black.
3 teenage girls trying to kill their families or friends, and then a guy and his wife dressing up as Slender Man.
Mm-hmm.
So Slender Man only influences...
He's the victim in all this. Let's
Yeah,
let's be
let's
fair
be
here.
real. He's just trying to be incognito, and everyone's like trying to catch him like a Pokemon.
Yeah, put him
Right?
out there on blast, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Hey, I'm just trying to do my thing."
I'm just trying to eat kids and shit, y'all. Just leave me alone.
I ain't trying to stab nobody.
Don't tell anybody to kill anybody. I'm
Yeah,
the
just-
one trying to eat
He
kids.
just makes them disappear.
Yeah, I can do it
Just
myself.
stab 'em.
I don't need you guys' help.
Just
Yeah.
burn houses down.
And I never invited anybody to my mansion, psychos. This is my mansion.
So when that 2018 movie was released, there was some controversy with this movie. Sony almost didn't release it. They didn't really promote it all that much because of what was going on. The people accused the filmmakers of trying to capitalize on the stabbings in Waukesha.
Well, isn't
Waukesha?
any movie that's quote unquote based on a true story? Are they trying to capitalize on something here?
Obviously.
But the
So-
thing with this one is it was never... They never said it was based on a true story.
And they probably didn't even
True.
do anything about the
I'm just saying in
stabbings.
general, like any type of movie is based off of something that's gonna glorify anything, right? Whether it's stalking or murder or whatever.
Right. I mean, that could just be like anybody
it's
doing like a World War II movie and then
The Conjuring series.
some rabbi coming, no, you're going to make you're gonna make gains off of
This tragedy.
Yeah. So same thing.
It's true.
So Bill Weir, father of Anissa, actually went on to say it's absurd that they want to make a movie like this. All we're doing is extending the pain of all three of these families have gone through. There's
You're
actually
the one that raised her, so
yeah. There's a advocacy. Oh my gosh, there was a group.
advocates.
Yes, called Care 2 that actually created an online petition that received over 19,000 signatures demanding the film not be released. Obviously, it was released anyways, and it sounds like it probably should not have been because I fell asleep through it twice, and it was all the suck.
It looked like it. I mean, the trailers just, they looked like a whole lot of suck.
Sony's representatives insisted that the film was based on a fictional character that had become popular online and not the stabbings, which I kind of would have to agree with Sony on this. I don't think they were trying to capitalize on the stabbings at all. I think they were just trying to, because look at all of the video games and other movies. There was like a whole online, like a YouTube channel that did all sorts of Slender Man videos. Mm-hmm. I think just because this was being produced by a major corporation, that they were just kind of like, no, this is bad.
They should have been more real with their reasons of why not to release it. Like, no, this is like a really stupid character. This is gonna suck. This movie's gonna suck.
I actually see potential in the character of Slender Man.
There is a lot of
I think
good
the
potential,
tentacles made
but
it real dumb. I think if they left the tentacles out, it would probably be a lot more spookier.
Well, that's the thing. That's just like fan fiction. That thing that people have added was the tentacles. I honestly don't remember the last half of the movie because I fell asleep through it twice. So don't see it if you haven't already, but it's free on Tubi. I do want to watch. I'm going to go watch that documentary on HBO Max, though. Beware of Slender Man.
What's the documentary about?
It's more about the stabbing.
Okay. Got it.
But that one is on HBO Max. If you have that, you can watch that one. Yeah, but that's Slender Man.
And I know a lot of the myth behind Slender Man is because I've heard a lot of stories on podcasts and YouTube videos of people telling encounters of not necessarily Slender Man, but something that is similar to that. Not necessarily in a suit, but just maybe something shadowy that's also very long and tall. And I've heard stories, and so that comes to the idea of did Eric Knudson's drawings create something where people start talking about it, and then it kind of manifests itself into reality or into life, or did maybe Eric Knudson get ideas from other stories he's heard? I know he said he got his inspiration from all these different movies and things like that, but I wonder if he's heard stories that reminded him of something like that, where he's like, I'm going to create this character. I'm going to kind of redraft up a little bit more on this character that he's heard of. He hears a story, and then as you hear a story, you make things up in your mind, right? You make the visualizations in your mind. That's why he drafted up. I kind of wonder that, or is it the same where, people talk about the Slender Man, people bring him up, people make movies, people. Maybe some of these girls are worshiping him, and it kind of manifests itself.
Entirely possible. Especially if you're dealing with, let's say the two Wisconsin girls. Mm-hmm. Let's say the one Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Let's say Morgan did see spirits.
Oh yeah, okay, huh?
And because she said she did, she claimed she did.
Right.
It's entirely possible with the attention that they're giving to Slender Man that maybe there's some sort of inhuman or negative entity that happened to sneak its way in and appear to her as Slender Man.
Okay.
It's within the realm of possibility. So,
I like that idea more than the possibility of it manifesting itself.
It's kind of like, well, anything that, if there's so much attention that got put into this from all sorts of people from all over, creating this story of Slender Man, it kind of took on a life of its own. But in that particular case, being that she said she could see ghosts, it's entirely possible that something may have appeared to her and took on the shape of a Slender Man and told her to do these things. I don't know for sure, but in my opinion, as a paranormal investigator, it's within the realm of possibility.
Yeah, I
because
like
that type of entity is going to feed off of these people's emotions or fears or whatever. And obviously they want pain and suffering, so they're going to, they're going to show up to somebody as something that they like or something that they might find comforting, which in this case was Slender Man. And it's like, hey, go stab somebody, or I will stab you.
If you want to come to my mansion.
Yeah, come live with me in my mansion. Stab somebody.
Or he just became a big scapegoat.
That's also possible.
Okay, guys, if you were to create a mythical horror creature of your own, what would it look like?
You.
That sounds devilishly good looking.
That's the point. You bring all the people in with your charm, and then you suck their eyeballs out.
What was that? You guys watch that show? Oh gosh, on Netflix, House on Hill House. What was that?
Yeah.
What was that? What was
Haunting
it
of
called?
Hill House?
Haunting of Hill House. And there's a few spirits in this house, and one is a really tall person. Right?
Okay, I
wears a
remember
bowler
that.
hat.
Yeah.
And then there's that one part where he looks under the bed. He bends down, keeps. I don't know. Maybe Beaker, you relate to this too. As someone like I'm decently tall. I'm like 5'11".
Tall.
I'm 5'11", 6. I don't know. You're Beaker. How old are you again?
Six-
Or taller?
oh,
How tall are you again?
I'm 5'9". How old are you?
That's a good way to get someone's age, right? Start with.
Here's how tall I am. How old are you?
You almost fell for it too.
I'm 6'5".
So if you see someone or something that's taller than you, would you be a little freaked out?
Yeah, actually, Mark Eaton.
Oh, Mark Eaton.
First time he was the first person I saw that was taller than me.
Okay.
By like a lot. I've seen some other people that are like 6'6", 6'7", a couple inches, not that bad. Mark Eaton, 7'1". The first time I saw him, I was just
Peed
like,
on his leg.
I peed on my leg. I honestly like.
Are you peeing on me?
It was weird because I got nervous. It's not something that I was used to. Slender Man can be anywhere from 6 to 14 feet tall. So,
Right.
like Mark Eaton, like I said, for example, 7'1", I saw him. It made me uncomfortable because I had really never met, in my adult life, someone taller than me.
Right.
And so I was actually a cashier at a sporting goods store, and I left and I made the 5'3" cashier help him. She barely came up to his waist. I came up to his shoulders. Like,
Yeah. So
it's intimidating.
exactly, because you're not used to that. So like someone like Ghosty is used to people being taller than him. No big deal. but like that's I'm like when someone's like fairly taller than me, that kind of weirds me out a little bit. So yeah, I can see Slender Man. That's what I'm thinking when I say Slender Man could be a really good character. Like I can see that going a few good ways. Like that Haunting on Hill House, that character kind of was like that character's one that kind of freaks me out the most. The really tall one.
Well, it's like in Conjuring 2, the Crooked Man, when he came out of the...
Right.
they made him like super tall too.
Yeah.
Like, that's creepy.
So if I was gonna make something that's gonna be mythical, scary, it would be something on the taller side for sure for me. How about you guys?
Not a smooth talking trickster.
Jabberwocky or what?
Smooth talking trickster.
I don't know what I would
I
create.
don't know. You put me on the spot. I'm not creative.
Probably something more like a raptor.
Okay, like a dinosaurish.
Yeah.
Well,
Fast.
like a velociraptor or
Yeah.
Utah raptor? Because a velociraptor is the size of a turkey or a chicken.
Ooh.
They're small. Utah raptors were a bigger one.
Okay. So the bigger one.
I know my dinosaurs. The Utah raptor.
Yeah, Utah raptor guided by raccoons. They ride them. They have hands, so they can make reins. And they can.
They have opposable thumbs.
Yeah.
Like-
So if humans,
like a raccoon
if
with
humans
an army
weren't
of
the
squirrels.
dominant species, do you think raccoons would take over? They have
No.
thumbs. They
They
can.
eat
Trash pandas?
No, they eat
Well,
trash.
monkeys are. It's either going to be monkeys, apes, or raccoons. Who's smarter? To be a battle royale.
Does a platypus have an opposable thumb?
No. Possums might.
I think platypus.
Honey badger, because honey badger don't give a...
Oh, there's a good one.
No, this is like you have a
They don't
raccoon
need
that's
thumbs.
leading an army of squirrels, you're good to go. They'll win every time.
Raccoons being the mastermind behind these velociraptors. Like,
Utah Raptors.
Utah
or
raptors.
yeah, or Utah raptors.
Velociraptors. I mean, they're still
Yeah.
deadly, but
they
they're
could probably
tiny.
ride either or.
Where are we going with this?
I don't know
I have
anymore.
no idea.
Should we call that? Or are we going to talk more about Slender Man?
Is there more to talk about?
No.
If you see him, if you have a story, if you've seen him, I'd love to hear it. I mean, he's not real, but I'd love to hear your stories. Maybe he is real. Maybe this Knudsen dude actually... Knudsen. Maybe Eric really saw a Slender Man.
Right.
And it was his way of... It's like in the movies where you have to make other people aware of it so he doesn't come after you anymore. Maybe this is his evil genius plan to escape the Slender Man.
I'd be more scared of a Utah raptor than Slender Man.
Okay.
Any day. I would actually ask Slender Man for help if I was getting chased by a Utah raptor.
Yeah, I'll go to your mansion if you say.
Yeah, I'll go to your mansion. Who do you want me to kill? Come on, let's go. Teleport my ass. Come on. All right, guys. Well, Ghosty don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies.
Goodbye.
This is the EVP Podcast.